One.
Perfect. Wonderful as always.
It's because we're professionals.
97% of the time, it works 100% of the time. Hi, welcome to Screen Share and Chill. I'm Kelly.
I'm Keith.
I'm Jamie.
And today we are talking about wait, no, that's not the name of our podcast. I got it all wrong again. It's Screen Share all the way.
It was your last chance to get it
God
right.
damn it. It's the last time and I still didn't do it right. And I just did so well last time too.
This one's more understandable because we
Yeah.
are Screen Share all the way for this final episode of that, and we watched Jingle all the way.
Yeah, we watched Jingle and Chill.
I don't know what that implies.
Yeah.
So, I was led to believe that this was a abysmally bad movie, but by the time we stopped watching, I'm not sure if it's not a misunderstood masterpiece.
I'm sure it's not a misunderstood masterpiece.
Well, thank you. That's why we need your perspective,
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
Yeah, Keith and I are both, you know how they call, like, Francophiles are the people that are really into France, and
Yeah.
Anglophiles are the people that are into English stuff. What do they call Arnold files? Because I think Keith and I both kind of fit into that category.
Yeah. Arnophiles.
Yeah, you put Arnold in a piece of crap and we'll be like, yeah, wasn't bad. It was all right. He's the ranch dressing of actors. You could put him on cardboard and I'll probably still eat it.
That's kind of fair, and I feel seen. But also, I have my reasons, as you'll hear. But I had this is one of the ones that I had never actually seen, because I think this and I think it was Last Action Hero which was slightly disappointing, came out, and then this, and I was like, man, I don't want to see Arnold in a bad movie, so I never bothered to watch it.
Oh yeah, you definitely missed out. This one has, I don't know, watching it as an adult is a little bit different than watching it, I don't know, if I was a teen or whatever when this came out, but I remember it being like, it's okay, but it had a lot of really cool, memorable Arnold lines, and as somebody that I've been doing Arnold impersonations for years and years, finding interesting Arnold lines for me to like phonetically dive into, this was one of those awesome movies. Put the cookie down is one of my favorite lines to use, because how quickly he says it, and how angrily he's talking about a cookie.
And let's not forget Jamie Please with our...
Yeah, of course. That, as we were watching this, I'm thinking, how many times are we going to reference Jamie, put Jamie on the phone. Jamie, please.
Yeah.
It's just going to be automatic, the whole fucking... Anytime we're asking you your opinion on something from now on, that sound clip is going in there. So what did you think of the movie? Answer me, Jamie, please.
Every time I give my opinion of the movie and it's bad, you're going to be like, Jamie, please.
Put the bad opinion down.
I was surprised to see little Anakin Skywalker in this, and it was actually filmed before The Phantom Menace, so this might be one of his very first things.
I had the timing wrong. I thought they cast him in this because he was in Phantom Menace.
Well, he may have been cast before this, but Phantom Menace filmed in 97, and this movie came out in 96, so it's...
Oh, yeah, that's pretty clear cut. I mean...
Yeah.
I hate to like pile on to Jake Lloyd, because that poor kid got so much fucking hate. But
let me say, my first note, and this is a joke, don't kill me, but my first note is Jake Lloyd should be bullied for this movie too.
Oh no!
And I'm just joking. That poor guy has a terrible, like, he's in and out of mental institutions. He's all, he has the child actor going the worst way possible sort of thing. So I do not...
Because he got bullied by so many people on the internet.
Which is why that should be... all hate should be sent directly to Keith for that one.
Yeah, send it to me.
Keith at screenshareandchill.com. That's
you laughed, motherfucker, so...
Yeah, so we're both going to hell, but you're the one driving. So...
Yeah, okay, I'm fine with that.
No, but I really do feel bad, because as much as I don't want Jake Lloyd to get any more hate, and he's just a person, he's just a human, and at this point, he's a tiny little boy.
Yes.
But that tiny little boy cannot fucking act. I'm sorry. He's one of the worst child actors, and I don't know how he got all these parts. I mean, he's cute. But I don't know, but like, okay, so like the work I work at and other jobs I've had jobs where we interact with kids, and finding cute kids is not a Wait, I better watch the way I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what you do? You buy yourself a tape recorder. You just record yourself for a whole day. I think you're going to be surprised at some of your phrasing.
A lot of kids are adorable. You know what I'm saying? They're not. It's not a diamond. It's not a dime a dozen. Or wait, no, it's not a diamond in the rough to find a child that is adorable. So like, why? Who is Jake Lloyd? Does his mom like know people in the industry or something? Like, what's going on?
He is not a nepo baby. I did just look that up to see if he was. He is not a nepo baby.
What I'm almost certain has happened is when he was in the auditioning process, George Lucas saw, well, there's a real, actual little boy, innocent and full of joy, and that's what I want for Anakin Skywalker. But then he gives him a script that have, Star Wars lines, like that grown adults have problems, like wrapping their mouths around to get out and sound natural. And so it was just like, it was not the best maybe casting ever in the world.
Yeah,
but
there was a lot of problems with Phantom Menace, and he was just one of them.
Yes, and he does not deserve the vitriol that he receives. None of the Star Wars or any actors do. So just want to be clear. But yes, he stinks in this movie.
Yeah, and for the record, this is one of the few instances where you kind of separate the artist from the art. That if you don't like something a character does in a movie or TV show, have the fucking common sense to realize that that's a fucking actor playing a part. For example, I really like a lot of the characters that Tom Cruise plays in movies. I don't like the fucking human being. There's a difference there. And likewise, when like Rose from Star Wars, what's her name?
Marie Tran? Was that Kelly Marie Tran?
Yeah, when she was going through all that bullshit. Like, even if you don't like Rose, which you're wrong, if you don't like Rose, you're just wrong. But even if you don't like Rose, why the fuck are you going to bully the actor that played them? You're better off finding the writer and bullying the writer for writing something like that. But nobody bullies the writers. They just go after the fucking actor.
It makes zero sense.
Because the actor gives it a face. The actor's a face you have to hate.
That's like being upset with your McDonald's burger and going and punching the goddamn clown plastic thing in front of the restaurant.
No,
like
it's
you realize that nobody actually involved with McDonald's is feeling the pain from that punch, right?
It's more like hitting the cashier who sold it to you.
So this is the heartwarming story of a terrible father who slowly becomes a menace to society and escalates to terrorism.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dad is the worst character in this whole fucking universe, and honestly, as much as a sleazeball Ted was, Ted the human, close. Not the reindeer, but he's a little bit better than Arnold. What's Arnold's guy's name?
Is he? I mean, he was like right on the verge of being a total rapist. Ted was. So
yeah.
Like they have different motivations, but they're both equally awful.
Then you get into like the violence Olympics, like which is better, attempted rape or like
bomb threats,
almost killing hundreds of people in a downtown area and putting your family at risk, burning down your neighbor's house, stealing from everybody. I mean, what the rap sheet for this guy by the end of this movie, bomb threats, like what?
Yeah.
The bomb threat wasn't his fault. I know, but yeah, Dad is a horrible person, and that's one of the big differences watching it as a child versus watching it as an adult. As a child, I naturally just fall into rooting for Arnold. He's the hero. He's been the hero of countless movies before this. Now, as an adult, watching it with new eyes, I'm like, this guy's a fucking dickhead. I don't care if he's played by Arnold or played by Mickey fucking Mouse. He's an asshole.
He's not just an asshole. He's a raging psychopath. But so like the basic premise is that he's an absent somewhat father. You know, that we established with the opening of the making it to his son's karate recital, which by the way, when he's late for it and he's stuck in traffic, Arnold
oh my god, did you have PTSD?
a little bit, but I was laughing because he gets this big shit-eating grin on his face and just drives on the shoulder like, ha, you idiots. And I'm like, fuck that guy. I hate that guy every time I see him when I'm stuck in traffic.
I'm rooting for the cop. Yeah. There's not very often in movies where I'm rooting for the fucking cops. I was like, yeah, fucking get him. No, you missed your son's thing because you were too busy trying to make money. No, you get the fucking ticket.
But so that establishes that.
But yeah, listener Keith the other day, like a couple weeks ago or whatever, we were going to record or watch a movie. I forget which one, but Keith was stuck in a traffic jam where his normal ride takes you, like, explain it. Like, what do you normally, like an hour? And how long did it take you?
My normal commute is an hour, and I was in traffic for 4 hours that evening. I don't want to talk about it.
hours. Yeah, so like we go to sit down and watch a movie, and right off the bat there's a traffic jam, and I'm thinking like, sorry man, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize this was in this.
Too soon. But that establishes how he is as a father, and the main thrust of the film is, oh no, he forgot to buy the Turbo Man doll, the latest toy craze for his son.
The one thing
for
his
Christmas.
kid wants for Christmas. Which is
And
always the setup for the movies.
Yeah, but I mean, I do feel for the dad in that one little instance that I don't think it mattered if he was a really good dad or a really bad dad, because I don't think every single adult at all these events that's trying to get a Turbo Man is a bad parent. It's just a shortage, and these companies do this on purpose, you know? So I don't know. I that's the one instance where I understand what he's doing, but I mean, it's obvious that he didn't even fucking try. It's, what is it, the day before Christmas Eve when the movie starts? So like the 23rd?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have anything for his fucking child. He's rich. He's living in a fucking beautiful house, driving a nice fucking car. He's got tons of fucking money, which he gets called out later by Sinbad. Like, look at your fucking cashmere coat and stuff like that. So he's buying himself all kinds of fancy shit, but he didn't think to buy his fucking son anything for Christmas?
Right.
Yeah, nothing.
World's worst parent. Him and Kevin's mom from Home Alone should hook up.
Well, the thing was, he had a plan to buy it, right? But he just never did.
No, he didn't. He was told to buy it. He ignored his wife. That was what happened.
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying.
He had a plan so much that his wife made him a plan, and he just ignored it.
He had concepts of a plan, right? Okay.
Yeah,
I still laughed when they show the reveal of him being like, "Oh yeah, I got it," but then it zooms in on his like horribly shocked face or whatever, laying there in bed. That was genuinely funny to me. There's a few moments that I genuinely laughed in this. So
I get it, because like I am that classic dude from like sitcoms and stuff like that on the 23rd of December I'm driving around town trying to think, what do I do? I can get a couple of pens and put it in a bag. No, that's a horrible gift. What can I could put a bow on the bag and put some candy in it, you know? Like I'm horrible at procrastinating some Christmas presents. Books. Now, I will collect books for people all year long. Like, Jamie, I've already picked out a couple of books that I'm giving you for either Christmas or shortly after. It's just like random books because I'm a librarian, so I get them across my desk all the time.
Books, so I'm like a crow in myself. Like, I find something shiny that reminds me of somebody, and I'm like, oh yes, I have to get them that. And then I get them that, and then I give it to them randomly, and then Christmas time comes around, and I'm like, ha, ha, ha. Remember that thing I got you?
I should have held on to that. Yeah. That was the one time I had a really, really positive, witty thought about you, and it went away, and now I can't think of anything else to get you except for like, here's a gift certificate to the gas station for $5. Get yourself a gallon of gas, buddy.
Have a can of beans.
Phil Hartman is perfectly insufferable in this movie to the point where he holds his mouth in a way that aggravates me that he doesn't normally do. It's this lip thing.
It's the smile that doesn't touch the eyes kind of thing.
And
he's creepy.
Smirk.
He's doing something with his lip where it does that thing where it like clings to the teeth and you can see just a little like a little slit of the teeth poking through when he smiles.
A little more teeth than you're expecting.
His mouth does not normally look like that. That was a choice, and it's just I right from the jump I was ready to punch this guy.
Also,
as far as I can tell, like, isn't Phil Hartman, like, isn't he so well respected even by his peers?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what a fucking loss. Like, so many people you see that are that talented, that are that, like, he could play any role, like we've talked about before. He could play the hero of a story, and I could totally find myself rooting for him. He could play the villain, and I could totally find myself hating him like he does in this movie. Like, and he's funny no matter what he does. If you just had Jingle All the Way, all the Phil Hartman scenes, and you put them back to back into like a 8-minute supercut or something like that, that would still be fucking entertaining to watch, and that tells you something about the actor.
Right.
Good job, Phil, and what a loss that we suffer for not having him around.
When he first came on the screen, my thought was, aw, Phil Hartman. Like a literal note. Aw, Phil Hartman. And then by like 3 minutes in, I'm like, fuck you, Phil Hartman.
Fuck you, Phil Hartman. I'm glad you're dead. Wait, too far.
Ted should have died.
Yes, Ted was awful. But Phil Hartman did a great job. And that's why I was Phil Hartman, because I missed him because he was so good.
Oh, Howard, excuse me, but your wife's cookies are out of this world.
And what makes me kind of like questioning what the reality of this universe is in a way is because Phil Hartman, his character, okay, we're led to believe that him coming after the wife, Liz, that he's completely a creep. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to talk to women, and he's very smarmy and plastic and bleh. But at the beginning of the movie, all the women want him.
Yeah.
You notice? Liz is the only woman that doesn't want to ride Ted's reindeer.
Right.
So, like, So at the beginning, I wrote a note that this just goes to show you, men think that women want a build like Arnold Schwarzenegger at his peak, but really they want a build like Phil Hartman without being a creep.
Yeah.
That's what women want, guys. They don't care. You can have a little pooch. That's fine. Just be funny, and you're fine.
And not a
and
creep.
show up. Show up for shit.
Yeah.
Show up and be funny, and you're gonna be fine.
Yeah. I don't know if that actually works. The jury's out on that.
Hey, I have built my life off of that foundation. Just show up and be slightly funny, and it'll work out okay.
A different movie that this maybe should have been reveals itself in the first store that he visits. I can't remember if it was a customer or one of the retail workers, which we'll have to talk about the retail workers in a bit. But it's they're being like rude and you know grabbing the gifts or whatever, and Arnold like grabs them by both coat collars and says, "Where's your Christmas spirit?" And I envisioned a movie where Arnold is like an avenging Christmas spirit who goes around and...
Oh, the Ghost of Christmas Present or something? Yeah.
I would pay to
violence
see...
on people.
Arnold Schwarzenegger in A Christmas Carol 2. Get Carol.
I would pay to see a Christmas Carol with him being one of the ghosts.
Right.
Well, that reminds me of the Last Action Hero scene where he shows him in a fake movie of Hamlet. To be or not to be. Like, and he's chewing on a cigar in Hamlet.
Yeah, uh-huh. Something like that would be probably better than this ended up being, and I would watch it.
You brought up Last Action Hero, and I just want to say for the record, because I don't know if we'll ever get to doing Last Action Hero.
Actually, you brought up Last Action Hero.
I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
you did?
I said
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we'll ever get to it unless we do like a whole Arnold filmography, which that would be a task in itself.
Please, no.
But I will say that your opinion of Last Action Hero kind of mirrors mine, that like, I wanted to like that fucking movie, but I couldn't. But it is a gold mine for those little itty bitty scenes like this.
Yeah.
He all the little stupid things he says in that movie, which this I thought was going into this was the movie is like so. It's kind of funny. It's Christmassy and it has a lot of fucking weird Arnold one-liners. But I don't know. We'll see what our opinions are when we get to the end of the overall product.
I have to throw out there.
It sounds like it sounds right now. I'm telling you, the audience has already figured it out. Jamie hates it, Keith loves it, and I'm kind of in the it's okay fence. We'll see if that bears truth at the end of the episode.
Right? I have to throw in there because we've never brought it up before, but watching any movie where my name gets yelled repeatedly gives me so much anxiety. Jamie, and you're like, what? Yes.
What do you want?
Like,
Stop yelling
Exactly.
at me.
I have a friend who loves Outlander, and she's like, "Have you watched it?" I'm like, "No, I can't get through 3 episodes because they're constantly yelling my name, and it's just too much anxiety. Cannot do it."
I worked in a restaurant once where we brought a woman on to be a server, and it was a bar, actually, really what it was. It was a server, and she was working her first night. It was a Friday night. She had worked like a Thursday night beforehand, so she got her like warm up. She's running around the floor on a Friday night, and she comes up to me, and I can tell she's flustered. I call it frazzled. Her hair's sticking out. Her face is red. She looks like she's pissed off, and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing? Talk to me. What's up?" She's like, "I can't fucking handle this anymore," and I'm like, "Why? What are they doing?" She goes, "All these people, they're like constantly calling my name and saying, 'Hey, you,' and telling me they need shit." And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the job. That's kind of what people do, is they yell your name and tell you that they need stuff. She goes, "I don't think I can handle this." And I'm like, well, it's a good thing we covered that on your first shift.
So I know this is a movie, and there's supposed to be a level of suspension of disbelief, which I call out to people for not having in certain other movies.
Yeah,
But
you poser.
I cannot really get together how the passage of time works on this single day. What time is this Christmas parade that he has to get to? Because he runs all over the Twin Cities on Christmas Eve to like, I don't know, 12 stores and shopping malls. And
if we look at Farmer's Almanac on Christmas Eve, like I didn't actually do the math.
right,
but
what
I'm
time
guessing
is the sunset? Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably like 7 a.m. to 4:30 or 5 p.m. Something like that is the time of day. You don't even have...
I would say probably closer to like 8 a.m. to 4 or 5 p.m. because you're in Minneapolis.
Yeah, but it's definitely not 12 hours or more.
Oh gosh, no.
So
Right.
he's doing all this in a matter of like 8 hours. This entire, like, the bulk of this movie resides within an 8-hour span. And I don't know how you do all that in 8 hours. And then still, when they're doing the parade at the end, this parade is still happening in daylight. In, like, who does an afternoon parade? I've never heard of that. Like, it's either in the morning or it's at night. Those are the two times. It's either 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock in the morning or something like it. Maybe noon, maybe 11 in the morning, but
there's no way.
My dad was a Shriner. I was in hundreds of parades by the time I was 10 years old. So,
there's no way he made it to a noon parade running around doing all that. So I have to assume that the parade was at like, I don't know, 4 p.m., but it would be dark. It's just this. It's a day in a bubble, and that's fine.
And that could be fixed if they just added the line that the parade was on Christmas Day.
Right.
But then they'd have to deal with like the fact that he never came home that night, or like that in itself kind of tells you something about so like I wanted to bring up too that he's always an absent father, and there's something, it's weird, like if the roles were reversed, for example, if Arnold played Ted, which that would be kind of weird, having somebody creepy and huge and muscular, that adds an element of danger to it.
Yeah.
But if they had somebody else cast in the role, him being constantly away from home and never being able to hang out with his kid and do all the things that you would want a father and son to do. He's not there because he's busy. Well, Arnold is also jacked as fuck. So, and he's a world-class bodybuilder. You don't get to become a world-class bodybuilder unless you're dedicating several hours every day to the pursuit of this.
Right.
You don't get to that level of body framing and stuff like that for working out a half hour after work. No, he's dedicating anywhere between 2 to 4 to 5 hours every day at minimum to keep that kind of physical frame up and going. So it's like, so you're ignoring your son, but spending 5 hours at the gym every other day or something like that. That adds an element of like, dude, every time I try to analyze your character and find something interesting about you, I just find layers of how horrible of a parent you are.
This is the opposite of working out with dad. This is working out without son.
Working out to get away from son. And his son is Jake Lloyd, so is that part of why? Like,
the Jake Lloyd slander continues.
No, it's okay. I keep saying that we should call him by the character name, so I won't refer to him as Jake Lloyd. So was he just trying to get away from Jamie?
Probably. People try to get away from Jamie's. Yeah.
Is that better? Do I just, if I constantly refer to him by your name, you don't mind that, do you?
No,
it's not like
it's
you
fine.
just mentioned that or anything.
I don't have any sort of complex about that or anything. It's okay.
Jamie, please. I told you, you're never getting away from Jamie, please. No,
let's talk about the retail employees in this movie because they're unhinged and drunk with power. There's that part. The guy is like saying, "Okay, it's
their one time a year, man. I get it."
Yeah, he's like, "This is how this is gonna work," and he's announcing all the rules, and all the employees have these smug smiles, and they're nodding their heads like, "Yeah, you guys are gonna get it from him."
Yeah,
like,
it reminded me of Ash from Army of Darkness. Like, listen here, you prehistoric fucks.
Yeah.
You're all in charge 364 days of the year. Well, guess which fucking day it is? This is my fucking day. So get on your knees, get in line.
As a 16-year retail employee who was in charge of the line in a large retail store for 16 years, yes, that is very much my feeling every day.
That's your one moment?
Yes,
like,
it would be
right,
like, you don't get to argue with me, you don't get to say anything to me, I will just kick you out.
At that moment when you're trying to like urge the humans into a line, you have an immediate flashback where you go back to when you were a child and somebody said, "Hey, do you want to take care of cows for a living?" And then you fast forward down that timeline where you're herding cows to their slaughter.
Right.
And then you come back to your own reality and you're like, "Man, I made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
Man, I could have been working with literal fucking shitty cows." And no, I'm working with humans instead. Yeah.
When he gets to the mall is where this movie starts to change into something different than what I thought it was. From the mall onward, it slowly escalates to more and more insanity and nefarious deeds committed by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and which we start off with him chasing a child through a ball pit.
Well, all of the structures, like it goes up above and he's going through the tubes like a play place at McDonald's, but writ large. And he's just going through this entire thing, like pushing kids out of the way. He's going into tubes that I'm looking at, like, I don't know if I would fit in that tube, and you're like twice my size. So how the fuck are you? Oh, and none of the parents are even caring that he's like chasing children around their play place with anger on his face. He doesn't look like he's having a good time. He looks like he's gonna fucking kill somebody.
Oh, they catch wind. I believe they call him a
Eventually.
pervert, and they're like hitting him
eventually.
with their bags and
Well,
stuff.
once he gets to the ground
when
level.
he catches one of the kids.
It's once he gets to ground level.
Yeah.
So just to establish the scene, they're doing a lottery with balls with numbers on it to get your
Bouncy
Turbo Man
balls,
figure.
because of course bouncy balls.
Yeah, and so his bounces away, and
they do it right near the entrance of the store, so it has a high chance of bouncing off. And they're at the Mall of America, so there are ledges that people have literally fallen to their death off of these ledges, but they're going to bounce the bouncy balls for the child's toy right next to the ledges. It's great marketing.
I mean, again, as a 16-year retail veteran, I get that. Maybe a few fall to their death.
You're like, who said it was a mistake, buddy?
Yeah, right.
It was on
The
purpose.
ball bounces away, and this child picks it up. And I don't know if this is an Arnoldism or just a fact of English as a second language sort of thing. But there's one point where he's looking over the railing and he sees the kid with the ball, and the words he says are, "This is my ball." Like it's like existential, or like, you know, like it's that's not how you'd be like, "That's my ball." Not "this is my ball," and I don't know, it just tickled me.
And the way he says this, also, like, he's got the Austrian, it's this is my ball, or something. Yeah, there's...
Yes.
He's trying to say, that's my ball, but he's like, it's enough where you understand what he's saying, but it feels like an alien speaking human.
Right,
kinda.
or like he's talking to himself very wistfully about it and like having a breakdown. I don't
It's
my
his
ball.
mantra.
It's his mantra.
My ball. It's
my
not
ball.
fair.
Yeah.
So this movie was directed by Christopher Columbus.
Really? We haven't done anything by him recently.
He was a producer on this or something. Like, he was the first name producer, Chris Columbus.
God, he's wormed his way into like almost all of our Christmas
Yeah.
movies, huh?
4 out of the 5, or at least 3. Like,
Yeah.
geez, and I'm like, at this point,
It's 4 out of the 5. Yeah.
if I can remember to not say Christopher, I think he should rename himself. He's Christmas Columbus. He does so many fucking Christmas movies, and he's so well known for it that he is Christmas Columbus.
I told you that Chris is just short for Christmas, and we don't know that.
We're done with it. That's his name from now on. I might mistaken call him the genocidal maniac, but as far as I know, he does not partake in any genocide. He is Christmas Columbus.
So when he's chasing the child through the ball pit and they're like calling him a pervert and the moms are slapping him with their purses and stuff, I was like, you know, this is getting a little zany, but it's lame, and this movie doesn't have the balls to push it into true zany territory. And how wrong I was. I wrote that down.
Yep.
And then it completely blew my expectations away, because the next place we go is to the Mall Santa Foot Clan warehouse.
Yeah. Where he fights an army of Santas.
That's a good joke, that all the Mall Santas have like this network where they're like bootlegging toys and stuff. That's pretty good.
That was really good. That was.
It's so stupid, and Jim Belushi is the head of it.
Yep.
Like, it's so stupid. Like, I don't watch this and go, ha 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 ha, that's funny. I'm like, who thought this was a good idea to put in a movie? I'm like laughing in spite of myself.
Right.
That kind of
The ridiculous.
when the guy jumps out and he's got the peppermint nunchucks. You know, they're like candy
You have
cane.
the big show. The wrestlers show up as like the ultimate Santa.
Yeah, wasn't that like Triple H or something like that? He looked like a wrestler.
Yeah, that's why I said Mall Santa Foot Clan. Yeah. It really reminded me of the Foot Clan from the 1990 TMNT movie. Like,
yeah, just with they had a little color to them. They like their red and white and green a little bit more. And the most obvious scam in the world, and it's, again, I find myself, I'm kind of rooting for the Ninja Christmas Foot Clan, because I'm like, where did you think you were going? Where did you think you were going? And also, these ninja scam artists, they're not that bright. Like, they just find a random guy at the mall and they decide to bring him to their their operations to sell him an item when they could why'd you just wait here? We'll be right back with it. We don't have to take you to our base to sell you. Imagine like you're out of a pair of underwear at Victoria's Secret and the clerk is like, hold on, come with me.
Could have gone without the little person playing Santa's elf getting punched and going flying comically.
Oh my god, that was like, I'm watching that scene and my eyes got big and I'm like, that's so Is it? I don't know. Like, is that? It feels icky to laugh at that.
Yeah, it felt a little icky.
Jesus Christ, he goes flying completely like 50, 60, 70 yards away. It's one of those special effects types hits where
that's 1996 humor and
yes, it
it's
is.
just it's like, I don't want this to be funny. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's the kind of the feeling.
I felt wrong for laughing at that, but I did laugh at it because of the absurdity. I'm like, what the fuck? You put that on a screen? Christmas Columbus, what are you doing?
Then he impersonates a cop. Like, he gets the fake badge
to other cops.
Yeah, and pretends to be the super secret undercover guy busting the warehouse to get out. And that's when I was like, okay, we're dealing with a crazy person now. That's the movie is shaping into this man as a menace to society and a psychopath. And it didn't let me wrong once I was on board on that. Like, it didn't steer me wrong. That's where we are in the movie, and that's where it goes.
Well, he kind of looks the part for an action hero, and I mean, and again, this is the universe where the Ninja Foot Clan brings you back to their base to sell you a Spanish broken Rocket Man doll for $300.
And we haven't even gotten to the end of the movie, which is super unbelievable. I would like to point out a couple little small things. They used the same, the Run Run Rudolph from Home Alone is the song in Home Alone where they're running through the airport, and they're running through the airport trying to make their flight on time. They use that in this one when he starts doing his initial shopping run. And I remember I brought it up, and Jamie brought up, like, well, it's probably used a lot. And it totally made sense to me. I was like, oh, I'm going to look this up and see how often it was used, because it's probably used in a lot of shit. The first time it was used in a movie was in Home Alone. The second time it was used in a movie was this one. Like, I just thought that they were, like, a lot of people had the same idea. No, it was Christmas Columbus. He liked that song right there for craziness around Christmas. Run Run Rudolph is his song to go. Well, now that we've established that he is secretly behind basically every Christmas movie,
so one of the tricks is then add Run Run Rudolph to your Christmas playlist. That'll make your Christmas more authentic, and Christmas Columbus authentically, like, certified.
Come after that stuff is when we get the infamous phone call, I believe, that has all the great little clips and quips where put the cookie down.
Put the cookie down. Who told you could eat my cookies?
and cookies is totally
I love that
substituting
line.
For something else entirely.
And see, that one, just for the record, that was your impersonation. It sounded perfect. I would love to hear a side by side.
No, that's me. That's me. Yeah, that's not Arnold. Editing myself is going to be a field day, because I'm going to be like cringing as a motherfucker when I hear my own impersonation.
No, the one you just did was perfect. I want to hear a side by side. Right.
All right.
Right here.
I'll give it to you. There you go. Who told you could eat my cookies?
Who told you can eat my cookies?
When Jamie's on the phone and he tells him that mom's next door petting Ted, who is the next door neighbor, got a reindeer and named him Ted.
Yeah.
The look on Arnold's face. Sinbad's in this movie, and he's kind of forgettable. Like, he doesn't really get anything too good to do until the very end. But that scene...
Whoa, hold on. He goes on a couple rants that are fucking cool. Like, I think that's the whole point in Sinbad's characters. Like, when they're waiting outside the store, the first store, when we meet Sinbad, and he's telling Howard all about what's going on, he goes on this fucking media rant that is so fucking true.
That's fair, yeah.
Dear Santa, could you send me a bike and a slinky?
No, your father's been laid off. And as if I didn't have enough pressure in my life, my son sends me out for some, like, goofy butt toy, some fruity robot named Turtle Man.
It's Turbo Man. My son wants one too.
You know it's all a ploy, don't you?
A ploy.
Man, where have you been? Don't you watch TV? We are being set up by rich and powerful toy cartels.
Oh, come on.
Now you got these big fat cats sit there using working class just like me and you. They spend billions of dollars on TV advertisement, and then they sit there and use subliminal messages to suck your children's minds out. And I know what I'm talking about because I went to junior college for a semester and I studied psychology, so I'm right in there. I know what's going on. And then they sit there and make a kid feel like garbage if you, the father who's working 24/7, delivering mail so you can make an alimony payment to a woman that slept with everybody at the post office but me. And then when you get the toy, it breaks and you can't fix it because it's a little cheap plastic. You know what I like to do? I like to walk up in that office, grab one of those guys, and just chuck him until his eye pops out.
So, I mean, I think that's part of his character is that he starts, you understand his message and why he feels the way he feels.
And he takes it too far.
We just don't, we don't really understand his response. Right. This is the perfect example of you can't control how you feel. You can control what you do with it.
Right.
Well, he's responsible for my favorite scene in the movie, which is when he's talking to Arnold about how he didn't get the toy that he wants, and this is what's become of him. And Arnold envisions his child dressed like
Best
him.
Scene.
Yes.
Best scene in the movie when Jake Lloyd is getting hammered at the fucking diner wearing a postal worker's outfit.
He goes, "Here's to you, Dad," and throws back the bottle of hooch.
That is so wonderful.
I lost my mind. I was shocked and I was laughing out loud. Yes.
I am tempted to say, like, next year for Screen Share All the Way, that should be our logo, is Jake Lloyd taking a drink out of that bottle. The entire premise for this movie focuses around them trying to capture the Rocket Man doll, obviously. And I think for a lot of us, the easy toy that we put that onto was Tickle Me Elmo, because that was happening like right around the same time. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, Rocket Man is Tickle Me Elmo. But Christmas Columbus has come out and said that it wasn't about Tickle Me Elmo, it was about Buzz Lightyear toys a couple years earlier. And he was running around trying. So if you imagine Rocket Man being Buzz Lightyear, that if they did that movie, that would be kind of cute. And Disney in the 90s probably wouldn't have touched this kind of movie with a 10-foot pole. Disney nowadays, I mean, they got Deadpool making taint jokes all movie long. So
right.
I don't know. They could have pulled this off. And I think that would have been a pretty cool movie seeing Buzz Lightyear instead of Rocket Man, because Rocket Man is just so, I don't know. Even as if you're a kid, do you really watch this and go, man, I want a Rocket Man doll? No, he looks really lame.
I really liked Rocket Man when it first came out. I'm younger than you, so when it was out, I was probably the target audience.
Yeah, okay.
So I can confirm.
Hey, right on. So I stand corrected. I mean, and who knows? We're a sample pool of two people, so who knows what the average person would think. But it struck me as, because I mean, I was the kind of person when I had action figures, I wanted them to have articulating elbows and knees and stuff like G.I. Joes. So that's why even like Barbies a lot of times weren't, when I played with other people and they had Barbies, like, oh, I don't care that they're quote unquote girls' toys. I care that their legs don't bend the right way to put them in karate poses and shit.
So Jake Lloyd chugging Hooch is
love it,
back to back with the radio station scene where they hear that if they can name all the reindeer names, they'll win a Turbo Man doll. This is where it showed me, okay, yes, this movie is willing to go go absolutely crazy with it, because him and Myron are that's Myron is Sinbad's character, and so by this point they're both they're rivals, and they're both trying to get that Turbo Man doll. Arnold calls up and shouts all the reindeer names, which is another wonderful little clip of Arnold saying all the reindeer names. And
I am not doing that one. Yeah. I don't. So no, don't expect a side by side of that one.
Myron, the mail carrier, threatens the whole radio station and the cops with, "I have a mail bomb." He just has a package.
The mail carrier's going crazy was kind of a thing at that time.
Yes, that was fresh.
Going postal.
Yeah.
There's a whole video game franchise of postal games that you play a post office worker that has enough and they just go off and start killing random people. That would never be nowadays. God, how many games that were in the 90s, like Duke Nukem?
And also,
and shit, like,
think about it. This is pre 9/11. That wouldn't be a funny joke anymore.
No.
The post 9/11 world is, "I have a fucking bomb."
But how easy? He just pulls out a random package and says it's a bomb. You know, I don't even like using that word as much as we are. Like, I feel like we're gonna be on a goddamn watch list ourselves just for saying it.
We are all already on all sorts of watch lists before we even started the podcast.
The interspecies erotica waiting list ridiculous. That's a different. That's
it's different.
That's a choice.
I said before we started the podcast, there's a lot of lists we're on.
The police officer who's been at odds with Arnold the entire movie says, "I was on the bomb squad for 10 years," and then he proceeds to sniff the package and shake it. So, I don't
Two
think...
technical things they always do.
Yeah, right. And then it blows up in his face. Which
I believe step 3 is poke it with your finger a few times.
So from this point on, the movie is off the rails crazy. He goes home and sets his neighbor's house on fire, knocks out reindeer, and then gets it fucking drunk. Like he's drinking beers or whatever with the reindeer.
Which it's funny because the reindeer has a whole fucking bowl of something, and we're assuming that it's beer, but next to him he has a 6-pack with 5 beers still with their tops on, and the one in his hand with just a little bit missing. So I'm like, did you just finish off another 6-pack and you already cleaned up your mess and now you went and got another one? Or what's going on here? Because there's... So as far as I can tell, the reindeer's just drinking water. He threw a little beer in it and he had 2 sips himself.
All this was in the pursuit of stealing his neighbor's child's Christmas present.
But he's also been drinking on and off most of the day too. Right. So, like both he and Myron, that's his name. Yeah, they're both fucking. They got a pretty decent buzz for most of this fucking movie,
which explains the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
I mean it's just another felony charge at this point. Like you just add malicious whatever to the front of whatever crime he did because he got drunk and ran in with glee to do it.
And the end really pushes it into the absolute unbelievable with the parade stuff. Yep. Which another laugh out loud, genuinely funny moment for me was when he runs out and knocks hot coffee on the bandaged hands of the blown up cop who's been
harassing him the whole movie.
Yes, I was legitimately laughing because they make it a point to show that the coffee falls on his bandaged hands, so it's not like his hands are bandaged and fucked up, and then you get boiling hot coffee spilled on them. It's
and the bandages you can't remove.
Yeah. I love it.
Okay, so we kind of sped past a couple things, so I'm going to go back in time to talk about a few things. So when they're in the diner and we see the little glimpse of Jake Lloyd getting hammered off of 5 o'clock whiskey or whatever the fuck he's drinking. Right afterwards, Sinbad, this is another one of those where he's the wise fool, where every once in a while he says the thing that makes the most sense. You see Sinbad shake his head after Arnold starts talking about his son and just goes, "That kid's gonna need therapy." And I'm like, yeah, that kid already needs therapy because earlier on, when the dad comes home and the son is obviously upset and he's trying to, "Come on, champ, come on, we'll play with the toys," and stuff like that, and they're fucking around, and it's so obviously cringe, but I get it. Dad's trying to like be cool and be his buddy, and then eventually the kid says, "I don't care. I just don't care." And I'm like, that's a trauma response. Get that kid in therapy immediately. There's no way a little 6-year-old boy doesn't care that his dad didn't show up. Like, he obviously is upset. He just doesn't want to show you that you upset him, which that's whole levels of trauma that we haven't even, like, what were they doing before this? How was he treating him completely like he didn't exist? I don't know. Another thing is that to feed off of that, Liz, if these are the 2 men in her life, she needs Tinder. She needs to get out of the house. She can do so much better. She seems like such a cool mom. She seems like a cool wife. She's beautiful. She's great at baking cookies. Apparently everybody loves her cookies.
Dirty.
Well, yeah, you have one unattentive man and one that's like way too attentive.
Right.
Like, find a good in between, Liz.
And let's back up here. Is Tinder really the response to that? I don't know that's going to help her out.
Yes, you Christmas spirit.
At one point, Myron and Howard, they realize they both have the same quest, and they fought a little bit, but Myron is trying to, extend the olive branch and say, hey, maybe we should work together, and Arnold is kind of dismissive and like, yeah, sure, whatever kind of thing. And then he's like, no, man, we have more in common than we have differences between us. And Arnold just total fucking elitist classism, like maybe a little bit of racism. I don't know, but like for him to like directly look down at a black man that just is a little bit poorer than him and be like, we're nothing alike. We have nothing in common. Like, really? Just add that to the list of asshole charges against fucking Howard. What a fucking dickhead. I really feel bad, and I hope that all the PAs for this movie got paid extra. because of how much they had to clean up after every fucking take.
Oh yeah, it's a messy movie.
How many times did they have to break those Lego houses, like stacking the presents in a huge stack that goes up like a 2.5 stories or something like that, and he plows through a side of it, so now they got to put it all back together again.
It's like, Benny was in the shot, it's reset, and then you got to rebuild all that Lego shit. Yeah.
We were talking about how for Home Alone they had to get there at fucking 5 or 7 o'clock in the morning, depending on the day. They probably had that kind of work schedule here because they have Jake Lloyd for some of their scenes. But then again, I guess the lion's share of the movie takes part away from Jake Lloyd.
Yeah.
Or you can just like record him whenever.
Right.
So I have a big note here. Is this offensive to little people? Question mark, question mark, question mark. So, yeah.
It's got to be about the punch and stuff.
yeah, that has to be. Really.
Again, another movie that we see the fourth wall broken, and another movie that we see caroling. They have literal carolers on the walkway leading up to the house, and they're like a 10-person choir, and they're all dressed up and everything like that. Is this a Christmas Columbus thing? I think this might be a Christmas Columbus thing, because as we've talked about before, caroling isn't something that y'all really experienced on a regular basis, right? So,
well, I did live out in the middle of nowhere, so
yeah, which makes sense logistically for you.
Christmas Columbus doing the bidding of big caroling, getting the word out there, so that,
And then they sit there and use subliminal messages to suck your children's minds out.
Try to sell us pitch pipes and hats.
Mittens.
muffs.
Yeah.
Because no caroler is complete without muffs.
Yeah, you got to have the muffins, whatever. David Newman did the soundtrack for this movie. I thought the music was actually really well done. A lot of times with movies like this, I don't pay a lot of attention to it because it's kind of usually just background hijinks, lots of xylophones and stuff. But this movie, it stood out. I thought the music was good and whimsical, and the emotional scenes, you need the music almost to pull some emotion out of people because the characters are not as likable, whether it's due to the actor not really landing the part or the character not being likable because they suck in universe. But just to give you guys a couple other ideas of what David Newman has done, he started working with Tim Burton, who was his first director, and he's gone on to do Heathers and Serenity. He wrote the soundtracks for both of those, if you are familiar with either one of those. I have not seen Firefly or any of its extensions. So.
Oh, that's a blind spot that we got to cover one day.
Yeah, totally.
When Myron shows up dressed in the costume as the villain after we haven't seen him for a little while it's so out there and so wild, and I kind of loved it because Arnold is dressed as Turbo Man, right? And then Sinbad shows up dressed as the villain with that big stupid brain in a jar helmet thing going on.
Well, this was the scene that for me confirmed that this was Arnold Howard is either schizophrenic or he had a psychotic break.
Yeah.
There's no way this is actually happening. I made a note earlier on when he started doing these wacky hijinks with the cops and stuff. I'm like, what if he's just imagining all this? What if like there was an added scene at the end where he just wakes up on Christmas morning and he's got a bump on his head and everybody tells him that he fell off his bike when he was out riding around.
Right.
Marinating tuna with salad dressing. Ted gives, I think, that piece of advice to somebody. He says, the thing is you just marinate the tuna with Italian dressing. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like totally the whitest recipe I've ever heard.
I had the same
That is such a Midwest recipe. Yeah, and afterwards you get the ranch packets, but you don't actually make the ranch, you just crumble those packets on top of the tuna. Yeah.
With the
serve it with mayo,
slathered in the Italian dressing. Get some pasta, throw it in there.
Green bean casserole and some mac and cheese, and you got yourself a Thanksgiving Day dinner.
When they're on their way to the parade and parking the car is when Ted gets like right to the threshold of full on sexual assault.
Sexual assault, yeah. I don't know if a woman walked out of that and said he sexually assaulted me. I'm like, yeah, like we can look at it as borderline, but from her point of view, it's full on. It's beyond harassment.
There is touching, right? He's
exactly
grabbing her and pulling her close and stuff.
He's doing it after she's already clearly given you a bunch of social cues that she's not interested that way. I think she's even said no and moved her hands and stuff like that. So that's straight up. I mean, it's not like, what some people think of when they hear the words, but it is. It's totally.
And so that scene probably would be a lot different in today's, if this movie was produced today, because it's like too far to not to be funny, you know, like it's too much. Like the humor is gone from it. Looking at it with modern eyes, and it's just pretty icky. So that's two strikes for ick for this movie. Nothing egregious, but enough to throw up
a couple
flags.
of yellow flags. Yeah, not a full blown red flag, but a couple of yellow flags. But this is also where Arnold gets thrown into the role of Turbo Man, even though, like, who are these, like, that assistant director or whoever that was? It was just like, yeah, whatever. Like, you never even, the guy never told you that he was there to do this part, and you're talking over him, even though he's voicing real concerns about what's going on. And so, obviously, again, this is just this fantasy world where this would never happen in real life, and that's doubly so because when he looks over at his co-star, he's in a full costume, and he's smoking. And anybody that's ever been in a show knows there's a couple things you do not do in costume. You don't eat, and you definitely don't smoke cigarettes in your fucking costume. Even like when the part calls for the character to smoke a cigarette, they have a lot of costumers that I've seen before. They have this whole procedure where, like, as soon as we can get that off your body, give it to me so I can, like, spray it down with vodka and shit like that to get that smell out of here.
They gave him a working jetpack that is capable of atmospheric flight around the city.
That the last guy they gave it to is he's got some brain function, which is a good sign.
That line is pretty good. So obviously he had a mishap with the jetpack and like hit his head or whatever. When Myron is chasing Jake Lloyd for the Turbo Man doll, and they're like hanging off the precipice of some dangling equipment or whatever. I can't remember if it's Arnold or the mom, but one of them points up and says, "That's my son up there," and there's a cop next to her, and he just goes, "Oh, that's wonderful." Like it's part of
even the mom, half the time she's like, "Oh no, my kid, he's in trouble. Somebody help him." But she doesn't like ever go towards him. She looks slightly concerned. Like technically she looks worried that her son is going to fall to his gruesome death in front of a crowd of people. But I mean, he'll probably be okay.
Yeah, he just takes it as part of the show. He's like, "That's wonderful."
Yeah. She definitely plays like the helpless woman very well in this movie.
Maybe she's so loaded up on Valium because she knows to expect out of Howard that her husband is just going to try to single-handedly ruin Christmas for as many people as he can over a period. This is like his dark time of the year, kind of like his dark passenger is as soon as like Christmas time comes, he just has to break everything that people have, whether it's burning their house down or kicking kids' Lego castles or whatever the fuck he can do. I think it's funny that when Arnold is on stage as Turbo Man and he's so happy that he has a Turbo Man doll, so he starts hugging his doll. And I'm like, for that moment, for all the kids, Turbo Man is just hugging himself.
Yes.
I don't know why that made me laugh, but yeah. Oh yeah, then he flies through the, when he's flying around the town and this jetpack that is totally not safe for him to use, he flies through a building, completely ruining this wonderful black family's Christmas. It was mom and dad and two little kids, and they were dressed very prim and proper and stuff like that, you know, but and it looked like they were just having a wonderful Christmas dinner, and he ruined it for everybody. And I'm like, this motherfucker will not stop until Christmas is ruined for everyone.
Hundreds, thousands of people.
Everyone in the Twin Cities. Yeah. No Christmas that was untouched.
And then he eventually, by movie logic and his completely broken brain's dream, his haze, he saves his son, drops his son off, and the mom literally says, "Whew." And I'm like, really? Really? Like, she's got to be hopped up on fucking Valium at this point. That she is just doped out of her fucking mind. She's like, "Oh, look, I think my son's gonna die. Oh, he's back.
That's wonderful."
Oh, I want some eggnog. Anybody want eggnog?
Yeah. Mother's little helper.
And of course they live to fight another day, and of course nobody gets brought up on charges. Oh, the big happy thing at the end when they're taking Sinbad Myron away, and Jake Lloyd, when Jamie realizes that he needs the toy more than Jamie does because he's got the real Turbo Man at home. That was nice. That was a nice message, and that connected. But it also kind of showcased that, hey, Howard, your son is a more decent person than you are. Right. You realize that, right?
No one recognized him. His child and his wife did not know it was him until he revealed himself.
Yeah, he had to say, I'm your father. Oh, I thought you sounded kind of familiar. I thought I knew you. How's it going, man?
Sounded familiar, smelled familiar.
Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger's face, listen to him speak, and tell me you can see his full face and you did not know that
Yeah,
was him.
right.
Yeah. When you have such an accent, like you would hear him from a fucking mile away. If that was your father, you'd hear Jamie.
Yes.
And you know exactly who's fucking saying you're fucking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nope, don't believe it. Don't buy it for 1 minute. Again, it's a fever dream. His psyche was broken several hours ago, and he's laying in a gutter somewhere and smiling at a rat next to him.
Mm-hmm.
In relation to this, I want to call attention to something. There's a podcast called The Worst Idea of All Time. Do either of you
No.
guys know?
Nope.
So what
I love the name though, but no, never heard of it.
So what they do is every week they watch Grown Ups 2 for a year, and
my
they
God.
talk about it every week. This had a
Holy
spin-off.
shit.
This had a spin-off podcast with the guys from that do My Brother and Me, where every Thanksgiving, this has been going on for 10 years, there's 10 episodes, they watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 and discuss it for Thanksgiving. That one's called Till Death Do Us Blart. They say they're gonna do it every year until they die. I'm just wondering if we should watch Jingle All the Way every year as our closer for Christmas. And
Please,
see how
God,
insane it
no.
gets.
Why would you do this to us, Keith? That is the worst. That is the third worst idea I've heard in the last 5 minutes. I gotta tell you.
So I'm just putting it out there.
I don't know. I'm secretly down for it.
No. I vote no.
Jamie,
No.
Jamie, please.
Jamie's.
No.
Wait, Jamie, please. Come on, Jamie. Put your mother on the phone.
My mom
Jamie,
said.
please. Come on. Oh yeah, we did cover that.
Yes.
Yeah.
RSVP, Jamie's mom.
So I guess it's time to do our questions in the first
Yeah, let's
one.
do the Muppet first. Yeah, I think this one's pretty obvious that Arnold running around beating the shit out of a bunch of Muppets would be fucking hilarious.
That is good, but I want to posit that it should be the police officer is the human and everyone else.
Oh, that would be good too. Yep, that would be good too.
Arnold as a Muppet would be probably delightful if he's still voiced by him. I think that would.
Oh, yeah, but you'd have to make him like twice the size of every other Muppet, you know?
That's doable. You make a full size Arnold Muppet, but he's still a Muppet.
Yeah, he's
still 6'4" or whatever he is, but he's just made out of plushie.
Yeah. I vote for Sinbad being the only human and everybody else being a Muppet.
Yeah, him being exasperated and at wit's edge the entire time would give a whole different flavor. It would be like Who Framed Roger Rabbit when they're in Toontown. Like, everybody in this fucking town is out of their goddamn mind, and I'm the only one. So, of course, he's losing everything.
Right.
So, he would be, like, I think Arnold is the obvious choice. Sinbad is the second obvious choice. The cop, I think, is out of left field, definite double. I don't know if it's a home run, but I like that idea.
Right.
Maybe that would be good for, like, a skit for... I don't know if I could do it for the whole movie. But then again, I could watch a whole movie of Jingle All the Way just played by Muppets. That'd be fine.
Then you'd have Muppet Arnold like blowing him up and breaking his bike and spilling hot coffee on him, and him just getting more and more upset and injured and wronged by this gargantuan Muppet man.
Right.
But alternatively, if you have Arnold as the only non-Muppet, you have this guy that looks very like big and burly, and all these little furry things are constantly causing him trouble, and he's trying not to fucking kill anybody, but he slowly loses his mind over the course of an hour and 30 minutes, and then at the end, he finally embraces, you know what, I'm going to be a Muppet too, and he starts flying around in a jetpack, and that's when everything like resolves, because he's like, I don't need to be so fucking serious all the time. You know?
Yeah, all of those are valid. And
they all have their own merits.
So our second question, what is the popcorn bucket for this movie? A gift, right? A gift that it has a little button on the side that beeps.
Well, it's a Turbo Man package, right?
That would be good too. Laying down.
It's the pipe
That's the
bomb.
most obvious one.
It's the package bomb.
Oh, that's
I like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get the package and you put a little thing on the side, the bow on the side, and you push the button. It goes beep, beep, beep. You eat popcorn out of it. Yeah, and 1 out of 1,000, it squirts butter into it. Or 1 out of 1,000, there is no bottom.
Yeah.
There's just a hole.
There's just a hole.
We got to keep that trend going. And the last question is, who is your MVP for, well, it's not the last question, but our last question in the question area of the questions. Who is your MVP of this movie?
I think my MVP of this movie is whoever thought it was a good idea to shoot a scene of Jake Lloyd chugging Hooch and saying, "Here's to you, Dad." That's my highlight of the movie, and just such an out there. You don't see that too often. A kid slamming back hard. So that's
that image will stick with me forever. Him wearing that fucking blue hat, chugging the little tiny pint brown. What about you, Jamie?
Mine would have to be the entire Santa fight. Like, that was my favorite part of the movie. The absolute ridiculousness of all the Santas.
The Ninja Santa Foot Clan.
All the Santas just fighting each other and going crazy. That was the whole movie for me.
Yeah, I did love that scene.
So you, Kel, who's yours?
The candy cane nunchucks are nunchaku, whatever they're supposed to be called. I don't want to sound pretentious going nunchaku when you all know what they are. They're nunchucks, bro. No, my MVP has got to be Myron, just because he's the only one that kind of makes sense. He's the only one that says words that I find myself agreeing with, up until he makes the weird pivot halfway through his rants and goes into fucking, okay, those are, you're losing your mind, that's bad behavior, you're not supposed to do that kind of territory. But the first half of his rants, I find myself going, yeah, and compared to everybody else, he's the only one that's saying things that I can nod my head along with, and I think that gets overlooked in this movie. So I would have
can
to
see
say
that. He's the sane one till he's not.
You and I, we're the same kind of person, ain't we?
I sort of doubt that.
Yeah, and he has that breaking point, and I guess they're kind of leaning into a postal worker going postal kind of thing, but which I don't know if that really. Man, comedies really just took something that was slightly offensive and then put it on the screen and expected you to laugh out of uncomfortable feelings, I guess.
Comedy for you.
That's very 90s. That's very 90s.
The real question then to finalize our journey through Screen Share all the way and Jingle all the way is, did you like the movie and would you give it a thumbs up? What about you, Jamie?
You really want to do this? Here. Now? Yes. Okay. Let's do it!
Oh, I knew you were going to start with me.
Sounds positive. Let's go.
Do you want the good news or the bad news? Give me the bad news.
It's an okay movie. I don't feel like my life was made better by seeing it. I don't feel like I was missing something by not seeing it. It has its moments, and Phil Hartman. But definitely a thumbs down for me. So Keith, what's your thoughts?
I have to interject real quick. That will go down as one of my favorite lines is, I don't think it added anything to my life. I don't think my life is better for having watched this. Like, what, you're trying not to be mean, but you're basically saying like, this was a huge fucking waste of time.
Yes.
Yeah, like I would have been better served literally watching paint dry.
Yeah.
So, but for officially thumbs up, thumbs down, you're giving it a thumbs down.
Thumbs down, officially. Yeah.
It sounds like very enthusiastic thumbs down. This movie had the opposite effect on me. I went in expecting to think that, and it kind of went to a place I didn't expect with the insanity, and I genuinely laughed a couple of times. So I am shockingly going to give this a thumbs up. If you haven't seen it yet, and it's a thumbs up for people who haven't seen it yet. If you haven't, watch it. Decide for yourself. But thumbs up from me. I was pleasantly surprised with the absurdity of this movie. What about you, Kelly?
Yeah, it's a thumbs up. This is like a bag of potato chips if we were reviewing food. Is this gourmet? Would I list this in my top 500 movies of all time? Probably not. Did I have a good time watching it? Yeah. If you want something Christmassy with Arnold, well, your options are kind of limited. Yeah, this is what you watch.
I think that's a very apt description because I also don't really like potato chips. So
there you go. See, this Jingle all the way is the potato chips of movies. So
Christmas movies.
Yeah, and it fits. It's real light, I mean, I say light, but I mean, it sounds like there's these huge stakes happening, but none of these people are likable or barely believable. It's all like a cartoon world. It's like, I don't worry when Tom catches Jerry for a second. I'm not going to see guts on my screen or something, so don't worry.
We'll have to see if Jamie changes their tune when we watch it again next year.
No!
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Please, no!
Watch it again next year. Watch it again next year. Watch it again next year.
The more you protest, the more I'm thinking like, yes, yes. I'm Jack Nicholson nodding along with that evil look in his eyes.
For those of you listening, just know that both my co-hosts are sitting here trying to think of ways that they can torture me next Christmas.
Don't misunderstand. We would be torturing ourselves too. Like, as much as I enjoyed this time, if we rate it again next year, I think one of the two of us will probably switch to a negative. And then if we review it again, I think all three of us, I don't think there's any point in reviewing at that point, because we're all just like, no, fuck this fucking movie. This is like, whose idea was this? The whole point is that we're all gonna hate it. We're all eventually, if you want us to agree with you, agree to this, and we will agree with you within 2 years' time.
Hey,
I
guess what?
guarantee you.
I'm okay with being a lone wolf on the no on this. If that's what it means
like,
to
you
get
can't
agreement,
use that logic.
you guys can always disagree with me on it.
Well, those were our thoughts, not yours. If you like them, then they're right. If you agree with us, then you are smart. If you disagree with us, then you are stupid and wrong.
And that wraps up this year's Screen Share and Chill festivities.
Yeah.
That's the end. That's a wrap.
Wouldn't it be screen share all the way?
Oh yeah, that's what I did mean. Wait! I said it wrong. What I
Kelly
meant to say-
invented you.
Screen share all the way.
Oh, wait, now this stays in this way, so go ahead. What's your real line, Keith?
It was Screen Share all the way. It's the end of Screen Share all the way.
Ah, ha, 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 ha. I'm not the only one. I'm so happy right
Like
now.
I said, you infected him.
Thanks. You said it wrong. You're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if everything goes as planned, this episode will be released on Christmas Day, so you're hearing our voice either on Christmas Day or shortly thereafter, or if you're somewhere in the future, hello, time traveler. Do they still have the internet in 2027? Did the aliens finally land? What happened?
How many times have we watched Jingle All the Way, future listener?
One.
Yeah, the listeners, like, no, society fell apart halfway through 2025, and we're listening to this, like, in the year 2800 as historians. But yeah, so for those of you that are celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas. For those of you that have other holidays you're celebrating this
Merry
time
Christmas.
of year.
Happy holidays.
Blessed Yule.
Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever your celebration. Yule, absolutely. Anything that you celebrate. If you don't celebrate, we hope you're enjoying some vacation time from work, because everybody should get some time off a few times a year. And, you know, this is one of those times where hopefully you're not working too hard. So, yeah, for me personally, I love Christmas, so I will wish you a hearty and Merry Christmas. I hope you all have wonderful. Santa left you all the kind of presents underneath the tree. And yeah, be kind to each other. That's the big thing that as a kid, the Christmas time seemed to mean to me was it's one time a year where people should go out of their way to just be kind and thoughtful of each other. And that's where they say the Christmas season should last all year long. Even as a child, I explicitly told my parents that the Christmas season is just being kind to each other. So we need to embrace the Christmas season all year long by being nice to each other. So wherever you're listening
God
to this...
bless us, everyone.
Is that something you came up with yourself, or is that something your ghosts told you?
No, that's just all me and Mickey Mouse and shit like that when I was a kid. That's
is
what
definitely
It's
the
your
same.
Tiny Tim moment.
Yeah. It's Tiny Kelly.
God bless us, everyone. Follow us on social media. Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Patreon, Ko-Fi.com/screenshare. Rent us a movie so we don't have to pay for it next time. Leave us reviews. Yeah, reviews are good too.
Yeah.
So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We'll see you after the New Year. Oh yeah, we got some big
Happy
news
New
coming.
Year.
What we're going to be doing next year. Yeah, do we want to give them a little hint before we go?
No, I think we'll give them a little hint a little bit later. Keep them guessing for now.
Keith likes a good mystery. All right, well, big things coming after the new year, and we will see you. Yeah, we got to use the classic line, but see you next year.
We won't actually see you, though, because we're a podcast.
For Screen Share and Chill, I'm Kelly.
I'm Keith.
I'm Jamie.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.
Merry Christmas, movie house!
Excuse me, Commander. If you don't stop this, I'm going to call the police. You go ahead! Go!